In the future, will we learn to better value people who think differently?
Morning, sir. Doctor? There's something odd about that man, and I can't quite pinpoint it.
Do employers now understand that surrounding themselves with people in their own image is a weakness?
There's something wrong about a man who never smiles, whose conversation never varies from the routine of the job, and who won't talk about his background.
And will we appreciate that differently wired brains must be valued, not a point of conflict?
I find your argument strewn with gaping defects in logic.
Cracking, yeah, it's cracking.
Enter Uri Geller. Would the British civil service benefit from the services of a Jewish telekinetic pensioner? What would happen if ministers were exposed to more officials who weren't all white, Oxbridge middle-class public school boys? Let's interview the candidate. And joining me now from Tel Aviv in Israel is the illusionist and spoonbender extraordinaire Uri Geller. And here in the studio is Freddy Gray, deputy editor of The Spectator and a friend of Dominic Cummings. And Mr Geller, let's start with you. I'm intrigued. Why did you apply? Was it the weirdos and misfits bit of the blog or something else that appealed?
Well, hold on. Before I answer that, I have to take you all back 47 years. It was a BBC. David Dimbleby handed me a spoon, and I looked into the camera and I said to everybody at home, go and get your spoons. And I looked onto the spoon and I said, 1, 2, 3. And the BBC switchboard blows up because spoons were bending in people's homes. The power is there. Now, when I saw the word weirdo by Dom Cummings, I couldn't believe my eyes. He was looking for visionaries, people who think out of the box, but also for weirdos. Now, throughout my career, Katie, I've been called everything under the sun. Magician, mystifier, guru, prophet, everything, and weirdo. So I thought to myself, now hang on, I know Boris. I'm going to help Boris. I'm going to help the people of UK. And Boris visited my home in Sonning when I was living in England, and he interviewed me. The ending of that interview was, Boris wrote, I was flummoxed by Uri Geller. So I said, I'm the right man to step in. Now look, Katie, I've done huge negotiations in the past. I've helped the Americans to convince the Russians to sign the Nuclear Arms Reduction Treaty. I helped the Palestinian Red Crescent and the Israeli Red Cross to get into the International Red Cross. I have connections. I know how to do the job and do it well.
So here's my question then, Mr Geller. Have you had a response?
Yes.
Have you heard anything back from Dom Cummings or anyone in his team?
Look, Katie, there's no doubt in my mind that maybe thousands of people, filled up the form. I'm sure I'll get a response very soon.
But you're
Actually,
a psychic.
from
What's your
inside
prediction?
I hear that they're very serious about my application. It's that simple. I hope that I'll get there. Remember, I'm a British citizen. I have a British passport. Most of my life, I lived in the UK, and I'm ready for the job.
Which department do you think your skills would be best suited to?
Look, throughout the last 50 years, I've met presidents, prime ministers, queens and kings, politicians, you name it. I have good friends who are prime ministers today. I have a feeling that if they will place me in some kind of an international job, to be an ambassador, to get negotiations going and going towards a positive outlook and a positive result. That's what I'll be doing. I can do it. Now, putting my powers aside, I believe that with my connections worldwide, I will be able to solve the Brexit problem. Remember, I was against Brexit. I was totally against it. But when I heard that Jeremy Corbyn was crawling towards 10 Downing Street, I stepped in and I had to make sure that he's defeated.
I would never want you to put your powers aside, Mr Geller. Absolutely not. Just very quickly before we turn to Freddy Gray, do you think that it's right, he's right to want to shake up the civil service? Do you think it needs more weirdos in it?
Absolutely. The system needs visionaries. The system needs people who think out of the box. We need something that is so positive and profound. Look, I'm a huge believer in this. If you can go there with your mind, you can go there with your body. Whatever you can visualize, you can materialize.
Okay.
And I think the UK is going to prosper in a big way.
Thank you very much, Uri Geller. And Freddy, what do you make of that? You know Dom Cummings. Is he going to bite? Do you think Uri Geller's going to end up with a job in the civil service?
Well, I mean, I'm a bit flummoxed, actually, having heard it. I think Uri's obviously a tremendously interesting and original person. This is a wonderfully weird intervention into the British political conversation.
Do you think he was the kind of person that Dom Cummings expected to apply?
No, possibly not. But, of course, when you ask for weirdos and misfits, you will get all sorts of people applying, and that's perhaps to be encouraged. But I don't think Dominic Cummings was thinking about Uri Geller when he suggested that Whitehall
What do you think he was thinking?
I think what he's thinking is that Whitehall doesn't work very well. The decision-making processes don't work very well, and that it needs a radical, very radical shake-up. I mean, you just have to look at the muddle over HS2 to see that the sort of central node which makes decisions in government causes a lot of confusion further down the line. And if you can do a radical overhaul of that, it's a very difficult thing to do, but it might be very positive for the country. Have
you got any sense of how it's going? I mean, how many applications they've had? You know, has he even got time to go through all the applications?
I don't think he will. I mean, I think inundated. And I think that's, you know, again, a good thing. I mean, if we can get different sorts of people involved in government, I think that's a very good thing.
Is it, though, just him trying to find more people like him?
Well, no, I think a lot of people are very cynical about Dominic Cummings' motives. I think they think that he's a kind of pseudo-intellectual, somebody who is sort of a dangerous figure. I think he's very passionate about changing the way government works, and I really think that's a good thing.
Because the civil service is a monoculture, would you agree with that? Would you agree with his points on that?
Yes, I mean, you read about it in his blogs and things. I mean, what he can't bear is the way that a lot of it is dictated by the media. And, you know, looking at things like the grid, every government person has to have a grid to decide how they're going to spin a story. No one's actually interested in what they're trying to do. They're interested in how they're presenting it.
Thank you so much. Freddy Gray and Uri Geller, thank you so much.